Imagine spending weeks researching the perfect dividend stock. You go through the financial statements, you study its dividend history. You deliberately choose companies that have paid shareholders consistently for years because you want reliable passive income, not speculation. Finally, you find that stock and you invest. Now, fast forward a few months later, the company's annual general meeting is over. The board releases its final dividend announcement, and instead of the payouts you have been expecting, they announce that there will be no final dividend for the financial year. Just like that, the income you carefully planned disappears. That is exactly what happened to investors in UBA. For years, UBA Bank had built a reputation as one of Nigeria's reliable dividend-paying banks. It had consistently rewarded shareholders with attractive payouts. But in April 2026, that streak came to an abrupt end following new regulatory requirements from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The bank announced it would not be paying a final dividend for the 2025 financial year. The market reacted immediately. UBA's share price fell by about 10% in a single trading session. And it wasn't just UBA Bank, guys. Access Holdings and Fidelity Bank also faced restrictions on paying dividends under the same regulatory changes. Now, don't get me wrong, this video isn't about criticizing dividend stocks. I still own a few of them, and I still believe they deserve a place in a long-term portfolio. But this entire episode exposes a question that almost nobody asks. And I used to be like that before. You see, if your entire income plan depends on dividend-paying stocks alone, now what happens when they stop paying? What happens when all of a sudden the market changes and the business stops doing well? What's backing up that income? For most investors, the honest answer is nothing. And here's the thing. The problem was never that dividend stocks are bad. I mean, that's wrong. I still own them, like I said. I still believe they deserve a place in a long-term portfolio. The real problem is concentration risk. Every naira of your income depending on one type of risk, business risk, board decisions, regulatory mood swings, and calling that a strategy. So today, I want to show you 3 income-producing assets that break differently. Now, I'm not going to come and lie here and say that they are better than dividend stocks. No, they are just built to fail in a completely different way. So your entire income plan is never sitting on one leg, because when it comes to investing, diversification is key. Now, let's start with the first one. Infrastructure funds. Most people think investing is about being a part owner. You buy shares and you get whatever left over after the board decides how much to share with you. That's the game we have been playing with dividend stocks this whole time. But here's another way to get paid. Instead of being the part owner waiting for decisions, you become the lender, and lenders get paid first. That's what infrastructure funds actually are. You are not buying a piece of a company and hoping it does well. We are pooling your money with thousands of other Nigerians, and that money gets lent out to massive projects. I'm talking power plants, roads, telecom infrastructure. You see, those projects pay interest on what they borrow from the fund, and that interest is what lands in your account. One of the newer options here when it comes to infrastructure fund is the Coronation Infrastructure Fund, CIF for short. It got listed in 2025 and it is currently paying dividends of around 17.7% a year. It's focused on lending money towards power projects, transport and logistics projects. If you haven't heard of it, that's fine. Most people haven't even heard of it. They just focus on another fund called the NIDF, the Nigerian Infrastructure Debt Fund. This particular one has been running since 2017 and it is currently paying close to 19% in dividends a year. Either way, the average NGS stock is giving you around 7.5% dividend. Both of these funds pay more than double that. Now, here's why that income doesn't disappear the way a dividend stock does. You see, dividends usually comes from profit, and profit is a decision. The board looks at the numbers, looks at the regulator and decides if they feel like sharing that profit with you. These funds pay you from loan repayments, real interest on real loans that infrastructure projects are contractually obligated to pay back. It's a completely different obligation underneath it. NIDF's track record backs this up. Since 2025, it's made 34 straight distributions, not one missed payment. Now, let me be honest with you about the catch, because I'm not here to oversell infrastructure funds. Technically, you can buy these funds the same way you would buy a regular stock through Bamboo, through Afro Invest, or any licensed stockbroker that you use. with a practical minimum of about 5,000 naira. Because here's what nobody really tells you about infrastructure funds upfront. You see, because trading volumes on both NIDF and CIF are quite thin, getting your buy orders filled isn't always instant. I've seen people place a buy order for the fund and wait weeks before it actually goes through, simply because there aren't enough sellers on the other side at that moment. So if you are going in with patience. This isn't the type of asset where you decide to buy today and you are holding the units by tomorrow morning. There is also a structural point worth knowing. Even though this income behaves like debt, the payout itself is technically discretionary, tied to how well the underlying loans are performing. It's far more reliable than dividends, but more reliable isn't the same as guaranteed dividends forever. Now, let's actually put a number on this. If you took 1 million naira and put it into NIDF at its current yield, you're looking at roughly 191,000 naira in dividends per year. That's close to 16,000 naira landing in your account every month. Compare that to the same 1 million naira in an average dividend paying stock, paying you around 75,000 naira a year, just over 6,000 naira a month in dividends. Same amount of money, more than double the income when it comes to infrastructure fund. Now, quick one before we move. If you have ever placed a buy order on something like NIDF and watched it for a long time and you did not execute, I want you to drop a comment letting me know. I want to see the average time it typically takes to buy the infrastructure funds. But really, guys, I believe because of how tempting the yields of NIDF is, that's why it takes time to buy, because no one wants to sell and it's crazy. That's why getting into it can take patience. But infrastructure still depends on how those projects are doing, even if that risk is small. So let's go one level deeper, because there's one income source in Nigeria where that risk basically disappears completely. I'm talking about FGM bonds. Here's something I can tell you with full confidence. In Nigeria's entire history, a federal government bond payment has never been missed, delayed, or reduced. And there's a reason for that. A bank can hide behind the CBN memo and skip your dividends, but the government can't quietly skip a bond payment the same way. If it did, that's not just a bad quarter. That's the government defaulting on its own debt. And that's the kind of thing that can crash an entire economy. So before anything else gets paid, bondholders get paid first. This is about as close to guaranteed income as you find anywhere in this country. And what makes it even better is how simple it is to actually get into it. You are lending your money directly to the government through something called the FGN savings bond. And right now, the 2-year bond is paying around 14.396%, while the 3-year is paying 15.396%. The window to subscribe usually opens for the first 5 days of every month, and you don't need to know anybody at the DMO to access it. You just open Bamboo or Truth, or you contact your stockbroker, and you can start with as little as 5,000 naira. Once you're in, your rate is locked for the life of that particular bond. So it doesn't move around based on whatever the market is doing that week. Now, let's put a number on this particular income source, because this is where it gets almost unfair. If you put 1 million naira into an FGN savings bond at 15.396%, your annual income comes to 453,960 naira. That's approximately 13,000 naira landing in your account every single month, like clockwork, with no CBN directive and no boardroom meeting deciding whether you get paid or not. And here's the part that should really get your attention. The government doesn't even take tax out of this payout. Compare that to the 6,250 naira a month you'd get from the same 1 million naira in an average dividend stock. And there's honestly no comparison left to make when it comes to the both of them. You see the clear winner. Now, let's talk about the third one. And this is the one most people don't even realize exists. Most Nigerians think the only way to earn from real estate is to buy land, build something, or buy a flat and chase tenants for rent every month or year. But here's a way to collect rent from some of the most expensive properties in Lagos and Abuja without owning a single brick, without dealing with agents, and without ever fixing a leaking roof. It's called a REIT. And right now, there are 3 of them on the NGX. We have the SFX REIT, which owns over 57 luxury apartments scattered across Lekki, places like Victory Park and Maven Cotton, and it's currently paying around 8% in yield. You have UPDC REITs, which owns some of the craziest luxurious buildings in Lagos, will I say business buildings as well in Lagos, and Union Homes REITs, which holds a mix of high-end residential and commercial properties across Lagos and Abuja. Though their exact yield isn't publicly disclosed when I tried doing my research to find their exact yield. Now, when it comes to REITs, there's something you need to understand which is very, very important before you put in a dime here. REITs are not stocks that you can sell in 5 minutes. UBDC REIT is actually the most active of the 3 REITs that I've mentioned, and even then it's only traded around 30 million units in an entire quarter, which is still considered thin. SFS rate is worse. Some days it trades 0 units, other days maybe 5. So if you put money here, think of it the same way you'd think about buying land. You're not buying it to flip next week, you are buying it for the rent. Most people try to like trade REITs. I don't know, it doesn't make sense, guys. You buy REITs for the sole purpose of earning dividends and not buying real estate and tying your cash without really earning anything from it. Right? I hope you understand my point. Now, I want to also be fair about something, because REITs aren't some magic assets that never disappoint either. SFS and UPDC have generally held up their dividends very well, when it comes to paying, but Union Home REIT has had periods where distributions were reduced or held back because they were reinvesting into growing the portfolio rather than paying out everything. There have also been cases where investors complained about delayed payout because of AGM or account approval backlogs, not because the REITs refused to pay actually, is worth knowing, but because the process to actually get the money to you was a little bit slow. So this isn't a guaranteed income stream every single time the way a government bond is. It's a more reliable income stream than chasing dividend stock all the time. But it still depends on rent actually coming in and management actually deciding to pay it out. Despite that, here's what makes the trade-off worth it for most people. You see, rent on a Lekki apartment or a Lagos office doesn't move because of CBN memo. It moves because someone is or isn't paying rent, which is a much more simpler thing to track than whatever happening inside a bank's balance sheet. And here's something that will actually surprise you. When a bank pays you a dividend, the government takes 10% withholding tax before it even reaches you. But publicly listed REITs are completely exempted from that tax for retail investors. If a REIT pays you 100,000 naira, you get the full 100,000 naira dividends, nothing taken off the top. Now, let's put a number on this. If you put 1 million naira into the average Nigerian REIT yielding around, let's say, 12.5%, you're looking at 125,000 naira a year in rent. That's 10,417 naira every single month. And because of that tax exemption, the government doesn't touch a single kobo of it. Compare that to the 6,250 naira a month you'd get from the same 1 million naira, in an average dividend paying stock, where the government still takes their cut before it even reaches your account. Now, let's put all these trades side by side, because once you see this together, it's hard to look at your portfolio the same way again. 1 million naira, same exact amount, 4 different places to put it. In an average dividend paying stock, that million naira is giving you 6,250 naira a month. In NIDF, that same million is giving you 15,942 naira, or let's just say 16,000 naira a month. In an FGM bond, is giving you around 13,000 naira a month, and in the average rate is giving you 10,500 naira in a month. Now look at that gap again. The infrastructure fund alone is paying you 2.5 times more than the average dividend paying stock for the same exact amount. Not a better stock, not a riskier bet, the same money just sitting in a different place. And here's something else worth knowing before you get excited and move everything in your portfolio into, let me say, NIDF. The bonds and the rights number you are seeing are what you actually keep, because both are exempt, like I said earlier, from tax. The stock and the NIDF number still get a 10% cut taken off the top by the government before it reaches you. So the real gap after tax is even bigger than what's on your screen right now. So now, what do you actually do when you bring all this together? It's not for you to go and pick one. That's not how this works, guys. The simplest way to think about it is this. If you had 1 million naira to invest today, don't put the whole thing into dividend paying stocks the way most people automatically do. You want to keep building your dividend portfolio, yes. That part is still your engine for long-term growth. But you want to stop sending the whole 100% of that 1 million into just your dividend portfolio. I mean, 70% can suffix. You can put that into your dividend stocks, the names you have already researched, the ones you believe in for the long run, but take the remaining 30%, that 300,000 naira, and that's what builds your fallback layer. You want to split it across NIDF, FGN saving bonds, and a REIT. And just like that, you have built yourself a locked-in income of real naira every single month. Money that lands in your account, whether the CBN issues a memo or not. You are not selling anything you already own. You are just changing where the next naira goes into. And I have to be honest with you guys, because none of these three are perfect. Right can be hard to sell quickly if you suddenly need your money back. NIDF's payout, even though it behaves like a debt, it can still move up or down slightly depending on how its loans are performing. And even FGM bonds, as solid as they are, can lose value if you try to sell before maturity when interest rates have moved against you. None of this is about finding the one asset that never fails. Nothing never fails. It's about making sure that when one part of your portfolio goes quiet, like the bank did this year, you are not sitting there without nothing. Buy your stocks for the dream of growing wealth tomorrow, but buy one of the three or the three for the reality of staying paid today and hopefully tomorrow. Now, I want to hear from you guys. Has a dividend stock ever let you down? An alert you are expecting that just never came? Drop it in the comment section. I want to see how common this actually is, because I feel like many people have experienced this before. If you haven't built your dividend portfolio yet, that's actually where I'll tell you to start from first, before you even think of building an alternative asset in case that dividend fails someday. I actually made a video on my buy forever stocks and dividend stocks. You can click on the card above to go watch that video. If you found value, do have to smash the like button, share this video to someone, leave a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also join my WhatsApp channel where I share real-time market updates and what I'm watching in the market. Until next time, my colleagues, don't forget to stay sharp, stay safe, and invest wisely. Dewo.